hello. How you guys doing out there on this lovely, let's hit live over here in IG so we can get these folks on board. How you guys doing out there on this lovely Thursday afternoon? All right. Hi, guys. How are you guys doing? Elaine Proby here, CEO, PROBY'S Tax and Accounting. And so today's topic actually is one that I get, oh my God, I get so many calls on this one. Weeks after weeks, I'm getting calls. Even earlier this week, I've gotten calls on this, and it's about this new child tax credit. So this is what we're going to talk about today, guys. The child tax credit. This is a lot of money up front for a whole lot of people, a whole lot of families. And we'll talk about, who gets it, what it is, and how it's going to affect your taxes in 2021. So very important topic here. I want you guys to hit like and share on this video because a lot of people need this information. There's so many people who look forward to getting their child tax credit refund at the end of the year. So a lot of people are going to need to know how to get this money in advance and what is going to happen at the end of the year when they do file their taxes, and whether or not they're going to either one have to pay this money back, two, whether they're not going to owe taxes by getting it up front. And if you want to not get this money up front, we'll talk about what you could do to not get this money up front and, and hopefully not owe any taxes on it. Okay, so today we're talking about the child tax credit advance. And again, like I said, I've got a lot of calls on this. A lot of people is trying to understand what this is all about, and they want to know how they can get this money and, how it's going to affect them in their taxes. So thanks for sharing, Carla. Thank you. All right, guys. So let's just jump right into this. The child tax credit advance. Elaine Proby here, CEO, PROBY'S Tax and Accounting. And first of all, let's talk about what is the child tax credit. Okay, so the child tax credit is a credit that is given to every parent who have an eligible dependent child. All right, so and it's based on their age, and it's also based on their income, and the parent's income or whoever is claiming that eligible child. So it's based on the income and it's based on age. And so that's what the child tax credit is. And in the past, you would get like $2,000 per child for child tax credit up to the age of 17. And now we have an enhanced based on the American Rescue Plan. That $2,000 have been moved up to $3,000 and then even to $3,600 for kids under the age of 6. So we'll talk about that. So the child tax credit advance is getting this child tax credit before you file your taxes. The way it works in the past, obviously, is you have to file a tax return. And then if you have an eligible dependent and your income qualifies, you would get a child tax credit, and therefore your refund, in most cases, refund is a lot more, $5,000, $6,000, $8,000, $9,000, depending on how many kids you got. So that's the credit, and a lot of families look forward to getting this child tax credit when they do file their taxes. So what the American Rescue Plan decided is that people need money up front. They need money now. They don't need to have all that money when they file their taxes 12 months from the top of the year. So the advance is allowing you, the government decided they'll give you half of the child tax credit in advance starting in the month of July. And therefore, you would get half of the money now. You can spend that money now on the kids and have more money in the family. And then when you file your taxes in 2022, you can get the rest of it. So that's what the child tax credit advance is. And again, so many people is calling about it because they don't understand what this is. It's not another stimulus check. This is not any other monies outside of you getting the money you would have gotten when you file at the end for the child tax credit in advance. This is what it is, okay? And a lot of people is not understanding this. So what we're going to do today is tell you who gets it, how much you're going to get, right? And then most importantly, guys, I want you guys to understand at the end of the day, we want to make sure that it doesn't affect your taxes, and or you would know how it's going to affect your taxes, and then you can do something about it now as opposed to wait till later. So let me actually make sure that I don't run out of power here. Give me 1 second, because I just noticed that this is saying I am low. We don't want no problem here today, okay? All right, so there we go. Hi, Inez. Thanks for jumping in. Hi, Karen. Good afternoon. Yes. Good afternoon, guys. Thanks for jumping in here. So number one was, what is the child tax credit advance, which is what we talked about right now. And then number two, we want to talk about who gets this child tax credit and how much you get, right? And the whole key to this usually is, once there's money involved, we want to know who gets it, and we want to know how to get it and how much to get it. So first of all, you got to have a qualifying child or children under the age of 18, right? They have to be under the age of 18. So which means this is 17 years old. Those are the people who are qualified to get this credit. You must file a 2019 or a 2020 tax return. They're going to base the child tax credit on your 2019 or your 2020 tax return right now, because they're giving you this money in advance. So either one of those returns that you haven't filed is what they're going to base this on. You got to have, if you have gotten child tax credit on your tax return, of course, it makes you automatically eligible for the child tax credit. And then you must have income. And there's income limits, which we'll talk about. Income limits: if you're single, you have to have made less than $75,000. If you are head of household, you have to have made less than $112,500, right? Because if your income is above that, it phases out and you may not be qualified for the child tax credit. And if you're married filing joint, guys, $150,000 is the limit. So that tells you who gets the child tax credit. If your income is over and above those, you won't get it. If your kid is over 17 years old, they're not qualified for the child tax credit. And this is very disappointing. A lot of times I have clients who have found out later on that their kids are turned 17 and they're looking for the child tax credit in their tax return. And we look at the age and find out that they were 17 in the year of the tax return we're doing. And so they no longer get the child tax credit. Sometimes very, very, very disappointing, but you know, those are the breaks. So the child have to be under 17 years old. Your income have to be under the limit of $75,000 single, $112,500 for head of household, married filing joint, $150,000, right? So, and then you must file your tax return for 19 and 20, and your home has to be in the U.S. and they must have valid Social Security numbers. Okay, valid Social Security numbers at home have to be in the U.S. and this is who gets the child tax credit. How much you get, guys? This is what it is. The child tax credit went up because of the American Rescue Plan. It went up to $3,000 per child for the year of 2021. This year is $3,000 per child. Last year was $2,000. Again, I had questions from people who filed 2020 taxes, and they were expecting $3,000 in 2020. The $3,000 per child, guys, is for 2021, right? Kids under the age of 6 is $3,600. So this is all based on the American Rescue Plan, because this year they want to make sure there's more monies out there for the families. If your dependent is under the age of 6, it's $3,600 per child, right? So what the advance is doing is they're going to give you half of the $3,000 or half of the $3,600. And they will advance that money to you on a monthly basis starting in July. So we'll have 6 months. In other words, if you have one child and you would get $3,000 for that one child, they will advance you starting in July $250 for 6 months, right? So that will give you half of the $3,000. $250 for 6 months will give you $1,500, which is half of the credit that you would normally receive for your child, which would be $3,000, right? So this is what it is. The advance is just getting some of the child tax money up front, and then when you file the taxes, you get the other half of it. So I want to make this very, very clear. I think so a lot of people are not confused about this, because when I talk about the tax effects, some people is going to want to know what happened to their taxes, and they're not going to understand really how this is working, okay? So again, let's say your dependent is under age 6, and you're supposed to get $3,600 child tax credit for that dependent based on your income, of course. The $3,600, half of that is $1,800, guys. So the government will advance you $300 per month starting in July. So you can at least receive $1,800, which is half of the $36 in advance. And then when you file your taxes for 2021, keep in mind, you're not getting the $3,600 again, you're going to get the other half of that $3,600 in your tax return. This is going to be a shocker for some people who was not understanding this. They're going to look at their tax refund and they're not going to know why that they did not get the full amount for their child tax credit. So it's very important. Okay. So again, I want to welcome more folks on here. Hi, Rodwell. Thanks for jumping in. Anya, Denise Lovis. Thanks for jumping on. Hey, Laverne, do you have to apply for the advance? Very good question. And no, you don't have to apply for the advance. You don't have to do anything for the advance, guys. If you filed your 2019 taxes and if you file your 2020 taxes, what they will do is they're going to, based on those returns, if you have eligible dependents on there and based on your income on your 2020 returns, they will automatically sign you up for this advance and start sending this money out. So you don't have to do anything. Now, if you didn't file any tax return, guys, they still have that non-filer portal on the IRS website. You can still go on to the IRS website on the non-filer portal and you can put your information on there if you didn't have a filing requirement and you have eligible dependents. You can still go to the portal on the IRS website and fill out your information if you did not file any tax return, because they won't know to give you the earned income credit in advance. Okay, so that's an excellent question. I'm glad you asked that. And I also want to point out that IRS have a portal that they just launched. And that portal is going to be called, what is it? Child Tax Credit Eligibility Portal, right? So you can go there if you want to change something. If you need to change your address, if you need to change your bank information, you can go to the Child Tax Credit Eligibility Portal on the IRS website, and you can make changes there. So that's the only time you have to do anything is if you have to make changes on the website or if you did not have a filing requirement. Unless you file a tax, if you did file a tax return for 19 or 20, you don't have to do anything. I'm so glad you asked that question. Hey, Janelle Neal, let's see. Hello, what is this question right here? Can you put it on the board? Okay. If unenrolled from the advanced child tax credit, will I get the full amount in my tax? Again, I was going to address that when I talk about how it's going to be having the tax effect on you. Janelle, that's a perfect question. What happens is if you unenroll from the child tax credit, guys, everybody doesn't have to accept this, but you can go in and unenroll. And what that means is at the end of the year, when you file 2021 taxes, you will get the full credit. That's a very good question. I was going to address that later, but I'm glad you asked that now. Yes, you can unenroll and get the full credit at the end of the year when you file your taxes. Great. Thanks for jumping on here, Janelle. Hi over here. How are you guys doing? Hey, Andy, how are you? Eat stuff. What's that? Okay. Thank you guys for jumping on over here on IG. Okay. So that's the advanced child tax credit, guys. That's my number 2 point. Who gets it and how much is calculated and if you're eligible for it, what that means. And let's move on to the third point. The third point, very important here, guys, is how this is going to affect your taxes in 2021. This is very, very important. Now, I want you guys to pay keen attention to this. Now, because this tax credit is an advance of the same credit you will get, question to what Janelle Neal asked about is opt out, do I get the full amount? If you don't opt out and you get half of this credit up front in advance every month, guys, when you file, you only get the other half of this credit. You will only get the other half of the credit. So how is this going to affect your taxes? Well, you can potentially owe taxes. Now, listen to this very carefully. You can potentially owe taxes if you take this advance up front. And let me tell you what the reasons why you can potentially owe taxes. What happens is, let's say, your income or your dependent status changed when you file 2021 tax return. So if they give you money based on the 2020 taxes and then in 2021, your status changed, the dependents are no longer maybe your dependents. They're dependents who sometimes are claimed by either parents. Sometimes you have, divorced parents. One claim a child, the other one don't. So if you get the child tax credit for the dependent, let's say for 2020, because that was the year you had to claim the dependent. 2021, the other spouse is claiming the dependent. So you can potentially owe because now they advance you that money. And when you file 2021 tax return, you don't have that dependent to claim and to get the child tax credit. So you can potentially owe taxes. Very, very important. You guys really have to pay attention. If you are qualified and eligible for this child tax credit before you opt into this program, take a look at your tax situation to make sure that your dependent status is going to be about the same, and that you or your income, that's the other part, because if your income exceeds the threshold and you're not qualified, 2021, when you file, you can potentially owe taxes again. Okay, so there's so many reasons you can owe taxes: having too much income, maybe not having the dependents, but maybe they're not qualified. And if they're going to be turning 17 or 18 in 2021, and because they based this on 2020 when that dependent was of age, you can have a tax situation on your taxes for 2021. Very important matters. You guys pay keen attention. You can still opt out. You don't have to sit and accept those payments and just, take it in advance and have a situation at the end when you file. All right. So that's the third point, how it's going to affect your taxes. And I want you guys to really, really take a look at this for the people who are qualified to get this child tax credit in advance, or who got it last year and may not be as qualified for 2021. And for all my clients who have called me every time we talk about it, I generally want to make sure that their situation will remain the same, so I can advise them whether or not they should stay or opt out of the program. Okay, so those are our points today. Let me go back and recap, guys. We're talking about the child tax credit advance. Very important. The American Rescue Plan have, one, increased the child tax credit, and two, they came up with this program of having an advance, which allows the family to have money up front throughout the rest of the year before they file their tax return. Okay, so the first point today was, what is the child tax credit advance? Again, that's the money that the government is allowing you to get up front for your child tax credit, so you don't have to wait to file your taxes to get all this money. Who gets it? If you're a single filer, guys, you can't make more than $75,000. For head of household filers, you cannot make more than $112,500. And for married couple filing joint, it's $150,000. That's the income threshold. And your adjusted gross income, if it's over and above that amount, you're not going to qualify. You're going to have a phase out amount of the child tax credit, and it could end up where you don't qualify for any of it, right? You have to have an eligible dependent child. They have to be under the age of 17. And the amount is, you get $3,000 per child for each kid under 17, and $3,600 per child if they're under 6 years old. That's the amount that you will get. That's how much it is per child. So what they're going to do is advance you half of that amount. If you have one child for $3,000, they will advance you $1,500 in increments of $250 a month, starting in July through December. And when you file your taxes, you will get the other half. Okay, so that's my second point today. Who gets it and how much? And the third point is how it affects your taxes. Most importantly, pay keen attention to this. You can potentially owe taxes at the end if your filing status change, if your dependents change, if your income change. And because when this is based on something prior to, which is 2020, a lot could happen in 21. You could make more money in 21 and not qualified. And your dependent could be of age in 21, or maybe you're not, the parent who should be claiming that dependent in 2021. So all this can affect your outcome for 2021. When you file those taxes in 22, you can potentially owe taxes. I want you guys to pay keen attention to your tax situation for 2021 and make sure that it will fit into what happens in 20. If not, I suggest you go online to the IRS website and opt out of the program, so that at the end of the year, you don't have a tax situation, okay? So that's how it will affect your taxes, guys. And I want everybody to understand that this plan was put in place so that families can have more money up front. It's an excellent idea for the people who can use extra money up front as opposed to waiting to the end of the year. However, you have to make sure that you know what your tax situation is. If you have any question, if you don't understand where you are with your taxes, it's best that you call and get some advice before you opt into this program, so you don't wind up owing taxes at the end of the year when you're used to getting back $6,000 or $8,000 or however many thousands of dollars back on this child tax credit. It can drastically change the picture when you file your taxes. Okay, so this is the child tax credit advance. Very, very important topic. I'm getting a lot of calls on it, guys. And so I want you guys to hit like and share on this video. And Hopefully you can explain this again to some of your folks or anyone who asks you about it. Hopefully you get enough information here. You can explain it to them, or you can refer them back to this video so they can listen to it and understand how this process works. Hi, Connect. Thanks for jumping on here. Hi, Kashim. Thanks for jumping in as well. Hey, Lorna. Thank you for popping in here. Appreciate you. She said information, great information. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm so glad that you guys can use this information and pass it on to everyone out there, guys. I want to thank you guys for jumping on here today. This is a child tax credit advance, very important topic. Share, hit like, and share this video so everyone can get it. And if you have any problems, and if you don't understand whether this is going to affect you or whether or not you should take this information, take that money up front, I would like for you guys to call somebody, call your tax person, and or you can give us a call here at PROBY'S Tax and Accounting at 323-290-9034. I'll be glad to assist you with that and let you guys, we'll be able to help you out and let you know if you should opt in or out of the program so you don't have the situation at the end of the tax year in 2021, okay? So again, you can visit us at PROBY'stax.com on our website for any further information on our company. I want to thank all you guys for jumping in. Let's see. Okay, Auntie, get it, got back. All right, good. Thank you, Andy. I'm so appreciative of you jumping on here and joining in. Again, I want to thank you guys for joining us today. Hope you guys come back here every Tuesday and Thursday. And when we have more great information for you guys, I believe this information is very, very helpful. As a matter of fact, I got great feedback, excellent feedback from a lot of people. So I know that we're on the right path in providing this information so you guys can make sure that you understand your tax situation, put more money in your pocket, be able to build wealth. Okay. So with that said, I want you guys to look out for our 5-day challenge, and we're going to have a free course coming up. I think we're going to have to post those dates as we get closer to them. We'll be putting that up, and you guys will be able to see that so you can sign up and get more information as far as starting a business, how you can learn to get it and run it in 5 days. 5 days. I will teach you guys how to start and run your business in just 5 days. Right. So with that said, I want you guys to take care of each other and take care of yourself. All right. So I'll see you guys back here next week.